I watched as Amanda stuffed another blouse into her suitcase, her face expressionless. 7 years of marriage, and she was packing up like we meant nothing. When she finally looked at me, her eyes were distant. "I need to find myself, Dustin," she said flatly. "This marriage is suffocating me." My stomach dropped as she zipped up her luggage. She walked out our front door without looking back, leaving me wondering if there was someone else. The woman I loved had become a stranger. Before I begin telling you about the biggest shock of my life, let me know where you are watching from and hit that subscribe button so you do not miss out on real stories about marriage like this one. I met Amanda on a crisp fall afternoon at a coffee shop near Boston University. I was studying for my business finance exam when she accidentally spilled her latte on my textbook. Instead of being upset, I found myself captivated by her apologetic smile and bright blue eyes. We exchanged numbers, and within weeks, we were inseparable. Our college romance blossomed into something deep and meaningful. We shared dreams, fears, and ambitions. I knew early on that Amanda was the woman I wanted to spend my life with. After graduation, I proposed during a weekend trip to Cape Cod. The sunset painted the sky orange and pink as I got down on one knee on the beach. Her eyes filled with tears as she said yes. We married the following summer in a small ceremony surrounded by our closest friends and family. The wedding was perfect, just like our relationship seemed to be. Our first years of marriage were filled with milestones and joy. We bought our first home in a quiet suburb outside Boston, a charming colonial with a backyard perfect for the children we planned to have. My career in financial consulting took off, and Amanda thrived as a marketing coordinator. We would spend weekends exploring New England towns, hiking in New Hampshire, or simply enjoying lazy Sundays making breakfast together and reading the paper. Our 5th anniversary was celebrated with a trip to California wine country. We toasted to many more years of happiness, completely unaware of the changes that were about to unfold. Looking back now, I can see that was the last truly connected moment we shared before things began to shift. The first signs were subtle. Amanda started coming home later from work, citing new projects and client meetings. At first, I thought nothing of it. We were both ambitious and understood career demands. But when she began declining dinner plans with our friends or suggesting I go alone to family gatherings, I noticed something was different. "I signed up for a yoga retreat this weekend," she announced one Thursday evening, 6 months after our anniversary trip. "I need some space to decompress." "That is sudden," I replied, trying to mask my disappointment. "We were supposed to visit my parents." "You can still go," she said dismissively. "I just need some me time." That weekend alone at my parents' house, I fielded uncomfortable questions about Amanda's absence. I made excuses about work stress, but even I was not convinced. When she returned from the retreat, Amanda seemed energized, but somehow further away. She started talking about concepts like spiritual awakening and finding her authentic self. She joined a meditation group that met every Wednesday evening. Soon she was attending personal development workshops that kept her away entire weekends. Our conversations became superficial. When I asked about her day, her responses were vague. When I tried to discuss our future plans about starting a family, she would change the subject or say she was not ready to be tied down yet. "But we always talked about having kids by the time we were 30, I reminded her during one particularly tense dinner. "We have been planning this for years." "People change, Dustin," she replied coldly. "I am not sure that is what I want anymore." The arguments increased in frequency. Small disagreements about household chores escalated into heated debates about our values and future. The warm, loving woman I married had been replaced by someone irritable and distant, someone who seemed to find fault in everything I did or said. Desperate to save our marriage, I suggested counseling. "We can work through this together," I pleaded. "There is nothing to work through," Amanda insisted. "I am just evolving, and you need to accept that." I tried different approaches. I planned date nights at her favorite restaurants. I gave her space when she requested it. I even joined her for a meditation class, though it felt awkward and forced. Nothing seemed to bridge the growing gap between us. By our 7th anniversary, we barely celebrated. A quick dinner out, minimal conversation, and an early night. As I lay awake beside her, I wondered how we had drifted so far apart, and if there was anything I could do to bring us back together. The Sunday morning that changed everything started like any other. I was making coffee in the kitchen when I heard drawers opening and closing upstairs. When I went to investigate, I found Amanda pulling clothes from her closet and placing them carefully into a large suitcase. "What are you doing?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. She continued packing without looking up. "I need space, Dustin. I cannot do this anymore." "Do what?" "Talk to me, please." My heart was racing as I stepped closer. Finally, she faced me, her expression resolved and distant. "This marriage. I am not happy. I have not been for a long time. We can fix this." I begged, my voice cracking. "Whatever is wrong, we can work on it together." "No, Dustin. I have tried. We have tried. Some things cannot be fixed." She zipped her suitcase with finality. "I need to figure out who I am outside of this marriage." I followed her downstairs, desperate for more explanation. "Where will you go? How long will you be gone? Are you seeing someone else?" She ignored my questions, grabbing her car keys from the bowl by the door. "I do not know how long. I just know I need this. Please do not do this," I said, fighting back tears as she walked toward the door. "At least tell me if there is someone else." "This is not about anyone else," she said firmly. "This is about me needing to find myself." And then she was gone, the door closing behind her with a soft click that somehow sounded deafening in our silent home. I stood frozen, unable to process what had just happened. Hours later, I found a brief note on our bedroom dresser. "I need time to discover who I truly am. Please do not try to contact me. I will reach out when I am ready. I am sorry." No explanation of where she was going. No time frame for return, just a vague apology that explained nothing. The days that followed were a blur of confusion and pain. I called her repeatedly, each call going straight to voicemail. My texts remained unanswered. After a week, I discovered she had blocked my number. When I checked social media to find any clue of her whereabouts, I found she had blocked me there too. A digital severing of our connection that hurt almost as much as her physical absence. Explaining the situation to friends and family was excruciating. Amanda and I are taking some time apart. I would say, unable to admit that I had been abandoned without warning. Some looked at me with pity, others with skepticism, as if I must have done something terrible to drive her away. Her parents were no help. "She told us she needs space," her mother said when I called. "I think you should respect that, Dustin." They offered no further information, leaving me to wonder if they knew more than they were sharing. As weeks turned into months, with no word from Amanda, my confusion gave way to anger. How could she just disappear? 7 years together, and I did not even deserve an explanation. I fluctuated between rage and desperate longing, sometimes wanting her back so badly. It physically hurt, other times wishing I could erase every dang memory of our life together. 3 months after Amanda left, my friend Thomas sent me a message that shattered any lingering hope. "Man, I do not know how to tell you this, but you should see this." Attached was a screenshot from Instagram. It showed Amanda on a beach in Bali, smiling widely with her arms around a tall, bearded man I had never seen before. My hands shook as I searched her name on Instagram, using Thomas's account. She had unblocked herself from everyone except me. Her profile was filled with photos from the past 3 months' adventures in Bali, Thailand, and Vietnam. The bearded man appeared in most of them, always close, always touching. There was no mention of me, no acknowledgement of our marriage, or the life she had left behind. According to her social media, she was having the time of her life while I was home falling apart. The betrayal cut deep. This was not about finding herself. This was about finding someone else. With a clarity born from pure hurt, I hired a private investigator. It took only a week to confirm my suspicions. The man was Jason Turner, a yoga instructor she had met at her studio 6 months before leaving. Phone records showed they had been texting daily. Credit card statements revealed dinners on nights she had told me she was working late. The pieces fell into place with sickening precision. The discovery sent me into a dark spiral. I stopped eating regularly. Sleep became elusive. My nights spent staring at the ceiling or scrolling through old photos, torturing myself with images of happier times. My work performance suffered, resulting in a formal warning from my supervisor. Friends tried to help, but I pushed them away too ashamed and angry to accept comfort. After weeks of barely functioning, my best friend, Michael, literally broke into my house when I stopped answering his calls. He found me unshaven, surrounded by takeout containers, looking like I had aged years and months. "Enough," he said, firmly opening curtains and letting harsh sunlight into the room. "This ends today." Through Michael as persistence, I found myself in the office of Dr. Sarah Walker, a therapist specializing in betrayal trauma. Our first session, I could barely speak through my anger. By our third, I began to recognize that my pain was not just about losing Amanda, but about losing my sense of reality, my trust in my own judgment. "You need to rebuild your life on your terms," Dr. Walker advised. "Focus on what you can control." Slowly, I began to reclaim pieces of myself. I joined a gym, forcing myself to exercise even when all I wanted was to stay in bed. I attended a support group for divorced and separated individuals finding solace in stories similar to mine. I reconnected with colleagues and friends, allowing myself to accept their support without shame. Work became a refuge. I threw myself into new projects, staying late not to avoid going home to an empty house, but because I found genuine satisfaction in my accomplishments. My supervisor noticed the change, assigning me to lead an important client acquisition that had previously seemed beyond my reach. 6 months to the day after Amanda walked out, I met with a divorce attorney. "She has abandoned the marriage," he confirmed. "We have ample grounds." As we prepared the paperwork, I felt a weight lifting. Filing for divorce was not admitting defeat, but taking control. I was no longer waiting for Amanda to decide our fate. I was choosing my own path forward. The same week I filed the papers, I put our house on the market. Too many memories lived within those walls. I found a modern apartment downtown, a sleek, minimalist space. Nothing like the warm, rustic style Amanda had preferred. I furnished it with clean lines and bold colors, a physical representation of my new beginning. A new routine emerged. Morning runs along the Charles River. Evening cooking classes where I learned to prepare meals for one without feeling sorry for myself. Weekend museum visits and concerts I would have skipped when married to accommodate Amanda's preferences. At work, I began collaborating with Jessica Parker from the marketing department on a cross-functional project. Smart, funny, and genuinely kind, Jessica made meetings I once dreaded something to look forward to. When she suggested grabbing coffee to discuss strategy, I was surprised to find myself agreeing without hesitation. Coffee led to lunch, lunch to dinner. Jessica knew my situation, careful not to push too quickly. Her patience allowed a friendship to form first built on mutual respect and genuine interest. When she confessed she had noticed me long before our project together, I was flattered, rather than frightened by the possibility of something new. "I am still technically married," I warned, during our third dinner together. "I know," she replied simply. "I am not asking for promises, just enjoying getting to know you." As spring turned to summer, I received a promotion to senior consultant, recognition of my renewed dedication and performance. The increased salary made the divorce proceedings easier to manage financially, another unexpected blessing in what had been a devastating year. 9 months after Amanda's disappearance, my doorbell rang early on a Saturday morning. When I opened it, I nearly did not recognize her. Gone was the carefree Instagram traveler. The woman standing before me looked tired, her eyes lacking the spark that had once drawn me in. "Dustin," she said softly, "can I come in?" I stepped aside, wordlessly, shocked temporarily, overriding the speech center of my brain. She entered cautiously, taking in the unfamiliar surroundings of my new apartment. "You moved," she stated obviously. "People change," I replied, echoing her words from our last real conversation. She nodded, accepting the jab. "I know I have no right to be here, but I needed to see you." "Why now?" I asked, keeping my distance. "Because I made a terrible mistake." Her voice cracked. "Jason and it ended badly. He was not who I thought. Nothing was what I thought it would be." I laughed humorlessly. "So the grass was not greener." "Dustin, please," she pleaded. "I know I hurt you. I know what I did was unforgivable. But these months away made me realize you were the best thing in my life." I was confused, going through something I cannot even explain. "But I know now that you are my true love. Can we just talk? Maybe try again?" For a brief moment I remembered the Amanda I had fallen in love with, the woman who could make my heart race with just a smile. But that woman was gone, replaced by someone who had betrayed every promise we made to each other. Without a word, I walked to my desk, retrieved a manila envelope, and handed it to her. "What is this?" she asked, though I think she already knew. "Divorce papers," I said calmly. "They have been ready for months, just waiting for you to surface." Her hands trembled as she opened the envelope. "Dustin, no, please. We can work through this. I will do therapy, couples, counseling, whatever you want." "I wanted my wife not to abandon me for another man," I stated flatly. "I wanted honesty. I wanted respect. It is too late for what I wanted." "You know about Jason?" Her face flushed with shame. "I know everything. The yoga studio, the late nights, the trips to Bali, Thailand, Vietnam. Did you think I would not find out?" Tears streamed down her face. "It was a mistake. A terrible mistake. He was just an infatuation, a symptom of my confusion. And I was collateral damage. In your journey of self-discovery," I replied, no longer angry, just tired. "The papers need your signature. My attorney's contact information is there, if you have questions." "So that is it. 7 years together and you are just done." "I was not the one who ended things, Amanda. You did that the day you walked out. I am just making it official." In the weeks that followed, Amanda launched a campaign to win me back. She sent flowers to my office. She wrote long emails detailing her regrets. She showed up at my apartment unannounced, sometimes crying, sometimes angry that I would not give her another chance. When direct approaches failed, she enlisted her parents. "Amanda is really struggling," her father said during an unexpected phone call. "She made a mistake, son. Everyone deserves forgiveness." "I forgive her," I replied honestly. "But forgiveness does not mean reconciliation." She tried reaching my parents next, sharing a tearful lunch with my mother that left Mom confused and conflicted. "She seems genuinely sorry," Dustin, Mom told me. "I am sure she is." I agreed. Sorry she got caught. Sorry her affair failed. Sorry she has to face consequences. Throughout it all, I remained firm in my decision. Jessica stood by me, offering support without pressure. "This is your journey," she said. "I am here whatever you decide." But there was nothing to decide. The marriage had died long before Amanda returned. When the day of our divorce hearing arrived, I felt only relief. The proceedings were brief, our assets divided according to the agreement my attorney had prepared. Amanda made one last tearful plea in the courthouse hallway, but the papers were signed, the decree granted. As I walked out of the courthouse legally single for the first time in nearly 8 years, the summer sun felt especially warm. My phone buzzed with a text from Jessica. "Proud of you. Dinner tonight to celebrate your fresh start." In the following months, life took unexpected, wonderful turns. A corporate headhunter contacted me about an opportunity in Chicago, a significant promotion that would allow me to lead my own team. When I mentioned it to Jessica, expecting disappointment at the prospect of long distance, she surprised me. "Actually, our company is opening a Chicago office next quarter. I have been considering applying for a transfer. You would move for me." I asked, amazed at the possibility. With you, she corrected gently. If that is something you would want. 6 months later, we were settling into a spacious apartment overlooking Lake Michigan. Jessica's transfer had been approved. My new position was challenging and rewarding, and together we were exploring our new city with the excitement of shared discovery. 1 year to the day after my divorce was finalized, Jessica and I sat on our balcony watching the sunset paint the sky in shades reminiscent of that long-ago evening when I proposed to Amanda. But this time the memory did not hurt. "Penny, for your thoughts," Jessica said, her hand warm in mine. "I was just thinking about how different my life is from what I imagined," I replied honestly, "and how much better it turned out than I could have hoped." The journey from betrayal to healing had been long and painful, but sitting there I felt genuine gratitude. Amanda's abandonment had forced me to rebuild myself from the ground up, to discover strengths I never knew I possessed, to learn the difference between love and dependence. I had learned that relationships require more than just love. They demand honesty, respect, and integrity. I had learned that forgiving someone does not always mean keeping them in your life. Most importantly, I had learned that sometimes the most painful endings lead to the most beautiful beginnings. My relationship with Jessica was built on a foundation of transparency and mutual growth. We had both been wounded in previous relationships, making us more intentional about how we connected and communicated. We did not take each other for granted, knowing firsthand how quickly everything could change. That evening, as city lights began twinkling below us, I presented Jessica with a small velvet box containing not an engagement ring but a key symbolic of my commitment to building a future together at our own pace. "I do not know what tomorrow holds," I told her, "but I know I want to face it with you by my side." Sometimes the doors that close in our lives are not endings at all, but opportunities to step into wider, brighter spaces we never would have discovered otherwise. I do not look back anymore. Have you ever experienced betrayal that ultimately led to something better in your life? I would love to hear your stories in the comments below. If this resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe to hear more real-life journeys of resilience and healing. Share this with someone who might need to know that pain can lead to growth and that second chances at happiness often come in unexpected forms. Thank you for listening. And remember, your worth is never determined by someone else's choices.